So this is how they take our underwear? My God, I should have listened to Mama Titi.
Inside Amoka's room, a candle flickered between them. The walls were damp, and the air smelled like kerosene and fear. Amoka leaned in. I didn't want to tell you this, but last night, I woke up to someone standing near your window. Shayla's heart stopped. Who? She asked. Amoka's eyes glistened. A woman. She wasn't walking. She was gliding. Her feet didn't touch the ground. Shayla's lips parted, but no words came out. Amoka continued in a shaky voice. She kept whispering your name like she already owned you. A hard knock on the door made both girls jump. When Amoka opened it, it was Mama Ruth, the elderly woman known for minding her business but seeing everything. She walked in, shut the door, and said in a low voice, the underwear is not just being stolen. Someone is using it to collect her life, piece by piece. And if we don't stop it soon, Shayla won't survive the next full moon. Shayla left before the sun fully rose. She didn't tell anyone in the compound. She just wore a long gown, tied a scarf, and quietly entered a motorcycle heading toward the outskirts of Ozeba. People in town whispered about a woman who lived near the old river, someone who wasn't a pastor, but wasn't ordinary either. They said she could see things others couldn't. The rider dropped her at a narrow path. Walk straight. If you don't have strong mind, go back now, he said. Then sped off. The place was quiet, no houses, just dry leaves and the sound of distant water. Shayla's heart beat fast, but she walked. The small mud house appeared, surrounded by calabashes and dried herbs hanging on ropes. An old woman sat outside, grinding something in a wooden bowl. Her eyes lifted slowly. You're late, she said, not like someone asking, but like someone expecting her. Shayla froze. I didn't tell anyone I was coming. The woman stood up. You didn't need to. When they took your underwear the third time, your name entered their list. I knew you would come. Shayla froze inside. She never told anyone she was going anywhere. That night, she locked her room and sat beside the door, awake. Around 1 a.m., someone gently slid something under her door. No knocking, no voice, just a soft drag on the floor. Her throat dried. Slowly, she bent and picked it up. It was a brown envelope. Inside was her missing underwear, folded, and a small white paper with only 4 words written in red ink, stop asking for help. Her body trembled. Her underwear was clean, washed, perfumed, like someone had taken their time with it. A cold wave moved across her chest as another thought hit, then she heard it. A faint knock. Not on her door, on her window. Slow, 3 times. Talk, talk, talk. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. After a few seconds, the knock came again, soft, patient, like the person knew she was inside. She stared at the window but didn't go near it. After a long silence, a voice whispered from outside, low and calm, you went to her. That was a very big mistake. Shayla's eyes watered, not from tears but shock. The voice was familiar. Too familiar. She knew it. But her mind refused to accept it. The footsteps faded away. The night went silent again. Shayla slowly sat on the floor, clutching the envelope. In that moment, it became clear, they weren't just stealing from her, they were watching her inside the compound. And now, they knew she knew. By morning, Shayla's hands were still shaking. She hadn't slept. The envelope was still on her floor. She thought of running back to Mama Titi. She thought of leaving Ozeba completely. But before she could pack anything, she heard people shouting outside. She stepped out and saw a crowd gathered near the back of the compound. A young woman, Ada, one of the tenants, was lying on the ground, unconscious. Her eyes were open but empty, like she was looking at something nobody else could see. Her lips moved slowly, whispering the same words over and over, leave before they finish you. Some neighbors were pouring water on her. Others stood back in silence, afraid. Shayla's heartbeat increased when she noticed something on Ada's arms and thighs, the same thin red marks that had been appearing on her own skin. But Ada's were worse, deeper, swollen, almost like burns. A neighbor muttered, her underwear went missing 3 times last month. Another whispered, she started looking sick but refused to go to church. Now see her. Shayla's stomach twisted. This wasn't random. This wasn't just about her. There were others before her, and some didn't survive. As they carried Ada to a tricycle headed toward the local clinic, Ada's mother grabbed Shayla's hand. Her eyes were red from crying. You are close to them. You are next, she whispered. Shayla froze. She didn't ask who they were. She already knew. That night, She didn't stay indoors. She couldn't. She sat outside her room with her back against the wall, staring at every face that passed. Mr. Duba walked by, humming a slow tune, smiling without smiling. The place was quiet, almost too quiet. Around 9 p.m., Mama Kanda, the elderly woman who warned her before, quietly slipped beside her. She didn't sit. She just said one thing in a low voice: Ada was not the first girl this happened to. And if you don't do something soon, you will not be the last. Then she walked away. Shayla stared into the darkness for the first time. She understood this was bigger than stolen underwear. This was a countdown, and it had already started. Shayla didn't sleep after Mama Kanda's warning. She packed her small bag quietly. She planned to leave Ozeba that night. Before anything was happened, she opened her door slowly. Aisha was standing there. Aisha looked worried. Her voice was low. Shayla, please, don't run. They already know. They are coming tonight. Shayla's eyes widened. How do you know? Aisha looked away. Her hands were shaking. Because I am the one who told them you went to the herbalist. For a moment, Shayla couldn't speak. Her chest felt tight. Aisha, you betrayed me. Aisha's eyes filled with tears. I didn't want to. They threatened my family. If I didn't help them, my father would die. I am sorry, but I can't protect you. Before Shayla could run, two men wearing white native clothes stepped out from the darkness behind Aisha. They were not strangers. They were respected men from the town, men people greeted every morning. They didn't shout. They didn't rush. They just said, it's time. Shayla panicked and ran toward the gate, but when she reached it, two other court members were already there waiting. She turned back. More of them were coming out of the shadows. They had surrounded her. There was no escape. Shayla screamed, Aisha, help me, please. Aisha cried but did nothing. One of the men came behind Shayla and held her tightly. Something cold and sharp pressed against her neck. She struggled, but they covered her mouth. The last thing she heard before everything went dark was, don't fight. It will be over soon. Shayla opened her eyes slowly. Her hands were tied. She was lying on a cold floor inside a dark room lit by only one lantern. Around her stood the same people, the court members. Some were women, some were men. All of them were people she saw every day in town. People who smiled at her in the morning. Now they looked at her like she was not human. Just a sacrifice. In the middle of the room was a clay pot filled with dark liquid. Her missing underwear was there, soaked inside it. Shayla tried to fight, but her body was weak. Her voice broke. Why me? One of the elders stepped forward. His voice was calm. You are young, beautiful, full of life. That is what we need. Your beauty will not die. It will be transferred. They pressed her down. She screamed and cried, but no calm came to her rescue. They began the ritual. They used a small from her waist, the same place the marks always appeared. Shayla struggled, calling Aisha's name, calling Mama Titi's name, but no one came. Her breathing slowed. Her eyes became heavy. By the time they were done, she was still, not moving, not breathing. They laid her on her bed in her room before morning, closed the door, and left silently. The next morning, Mama Titi arrived from the village. She didn't come by accident. 2 weeks earlier, Shayla had sent a message through her childhood friend, Dora, telling her grandmother the name of her street and the compound where she stayed in Ozeba. She only shared it so Mama Titi would worry less if anything ever happened. Since yesterday night, Mama Titi's chest had been heavy. No sleep, no peace. So before sunrise, she carried her small bag, boarded a bus to Ozeba, and followed the directions Shayla once gave. When she reached the compound, she didn't greet anyone. She walked straight to Shayla's door and knocked. No answer. She knocked again, louder. Still silent, her heart began to race. Shayla. Shayla, open the door. It's Mama Titi. Still nothing. That was when neighbors began to gather, whispering. One of the men broke the door, and there, on the cold floor beside the bed, they found her. Mama Titi screamed and held her body tightly, crying, wake up, my child. Shayla, please. People rushed in. Aisha stood at the back, crying but silent. They buried Shayla beside her mother. After her death, everything changed. Girls in Ozeba stopped hanging their underwear outside. Families warned their daughters, don't trust everybody. Not every smile is safe. People whispered about Shayla at night, how she was stubborn, but didn't deserve this. Mama Titi never stopped talking. Anywhere she went, she said, they will not silence this story. My child did not die for nothing. And that's how Shayla became a warning, a name nobody in Ozeba could forget. Never hang your underwear outside. Because in Ozeba, it was never just clothes. It was the beginning of a nightmare. Evil doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, the people smiling at you, the ones you eat, laugh, and walk with, are the same ones who betray you. Please give this video a like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and powerful stories. See you in the next one.